Have you ever noticed how some people just vanish? Not dramatically, but quietly, deliberately, from everyone. They're not running from people, they're fleeing from a version of themselves those people represent. When you look in enough mirrors and don't recognize who's staring back, the instinct is simple: break the mirrors. These aren't depressed introverts recharging. This is someone experiencing what psychologists call self-discrepancy theory, where the gap between who you are, who you should be, and who you want to become creates unbearable tension. Every friendship becomes a cage reinforcing a performance they can no longer sustain. They're not leaving you, they're leaving the phantom self they've been performing, the reliable friend, the dutiful child, the predictable colleague. It's an emergency exit from a burning building, a crisis so profound that complete reinvention seems like the only path to survival. The tragedy? Someone felt so trapped by connection, the very thing meant to set us free, that total isolation became their liberation. But here's the truth. We're all disappearing and reappearing constantly, shedding old selves as we grow. They're just doing publicly what most of us do privately, killing off the version built from other people's blueprints instead of their own. Maybe the answer isn't to judge them, but to love people loudly enough that they never feel they have to vanish to be free. The architecture of escape. The disappearance usually unfolds in three invisible stages. First comes the quiet withdrawal. They're physically present but energetically gone, smiling through conversations while volunteering nothing, showing up to events only to leave early. They're practicing absence while technically being there, testing what it feels like to be a ghost in their own life. Then comes the test run, a few days of silence, maybe a week or two, telling themselves they're just overwhelmed. But really, they're asking two terrifying questions. Can I survive without the constant reinforcement of my social identity? And more devastatingly, will anyone truly notice I'm gone? The answer to that second question is often what seals their decision. Life continues, people assume they're busy, the world spins on. This confirmation that their absence creates barely a ripple becomes both crushing and liberating. It proves what they suspected. They've been holding up a house of cards and no one will notice when they stop. The final stage is the cut. Deactivated social media, changed phone number, sometimes even relocation without a forwarding address. No announcements, no explanations, just silence. Because explaining would require staying in character one more time, managing someone else's emotions, justifying a decision that finally feels entirely their own. The neuroscience of breaking bonds. Here's what makes this so agonizing for everyone involved. Your brain experiences social rejection the same way it processes physical pain. fMRI studies show that when someone you care about disappears, your dorsal anterior cingulate cortex and anterior insula light up, the same regions activated by actual injury. Your brain doesn't distinguish between a broken bone and a broken connection. But the person who disappears feels this pain too. They're severing bonds their brain has marked as essential for survival, fighting millions of years of evolutionary programming screaming that connection equals safety and isolation equals death. So why persist through this neurological agony? Because there's another survival mechanism overriding everything else: the fundamental human need for autonomy. Self-determination theory reveals that when we chronically feel our lives are scripted by others rather than self-authored, we experience a kind of soul death that becomes harder to survive than loneliness itself. The disappearance is autonomy violently reasserting itself. It's the psyche's immune system attacking what it perceives as a foreign invader, even if that invader is love. The phantom self phenomenon. Imagine attending a party where everyone knows your name, your stories, how you'll react to any situation. They're comfortable with you because you're predictable, safe, known. But inside, you feel like a stranger wearing a costume of yourself. Every laugh is automatic, every anecdote has been told so many times it's lost all meaning. You're fluent in being you, but you have no idea who you actually are underneath the performance. Researchers call this the phantom self, a version of you existing primarily in others' perceptions. The disturbing part? The phantom can become more real than your actual self. You start believing the performance, forgetting there was ever anything underneath. Until something cracks. Maybe it's a milestone birthday reminding you how much time has passed. Maybe it's unexpected grief or joy breaking through your numbness. Maybe someone sees something in you that no one else noticed, awakening a version you thought was dead.
Whatever the catalyst, the realization is identical. The life you're living belongs to someone else, the phantom. And suddenly, the disappearance becomes not just understandable, but necessary for survival. The invisible prison. What this reveals about all of us is uncomfortable. The fact that someone can feel so trapped by their own life that vanishing seems like the only option should tell us something about the invisible prisons we construct, not with bars and chains, but with expectations, obligations, and the crushing weight of other people's versions of who we are. We do this constantly, often with the best intentions. We hold people in our memories like insects preserved in amber, exactly as they were when we first loved them. When they try to change, we resist, not maliciously, but instinctively. You're not yourself, we say, when what we really mean is, you're not who I need you to be. This is where the question becomes piercing. How many people in your life feel they can't be fully themselves around you? How many are performing a version they think you need, slowly dying from the effort? The people who disappear completely are extreme cases, but they're not outliers. They're magnifications of a universal tension, the gap between who we are and who others need us to be. The aftermath and transformation. What happens after someone vanishes falls into three patterns. Sometimes they rebuild successfully, creating a new life with people who never knew the old version, finally discovering themselves without the weight of who they were, becoming capable of deeper connections because they're finally connecting authentically. Sometimes they discover you can't outrun yourself, that the patterns they fled live inside them, not in their relationships. Starting over just means performing a different version of the same avoidance. These people often return, humbled and broken open, ready for real transformation without scorched earth. And sometimes, harder to accept, that they simply stay gone, not because they're cruel or broken, but because the life they built afterward is genuinely better than what they left. Because not all relationships are meant to survive our evolution. Because real love sometimes means letting people go even when it devastates us. The path to wholeness. If you've been left behind, it wasn't your fault. You couldn't have fixed what was breaking inside them because it wasn't about you. Your love wasn't deficient, your friendship wasn't inadequate. You were cast in a play they needed to stop performing, and sometimes the only way to quit is leaving the theater entirely. Grieve it, feel angry, but don't let their departure become the story you tell yourself about your worthiness of connection. And if you're someone contemplating disappearance, you don't have to burn everything down to transform. There's a difference between protecting your peace and isolating from everyone who's cared about you. Yes, some relationships might need to end. Yes, boundaries might hurt people you love, but surgical cuts heal better than scorched earth. The bravest act isn't disappearing. It's staying and being honest. It's saying, I'm not okay, instead of vanishing without warning. It's admitting I've been pretending and I can't anymore, instead of just stopping without warning. Because people who truly love you can handle your transformation. They might stumble, they might need time, but real love doesn't require you to stay small or be a museum piece. And if they can't handle the real you, then yes, those relationships need ending, but with clarity, honesty, knowing you tried. Because the most profound disappearance isn't leaving everyone behind. It's finally, bravely, truthfully showing up as yourself.